You said, hey there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hey there, from A to Disney here, and I'm Justin, and today I'm joined with Jackson and Maddie. Today we're going to be talking about Disney Plus. It's been about a week now, and so we figured we'd kind of talk about it and see what we think. So I'm going to kind of lead the discussion, and we just kind of talk and see what happens. So I first want to know, what was the first thing you guys watched?
For me, it was the Ye Old Days, I think it's what it's called, Mickey Short. And yeah, I didn't really have much of a selection at the time since we were on the road. And
Yeah, we watched it together, right? And I put it on and
Yeah.
you watched with me.
In the car?
No,
We were at the doctor's office.
Oh.
It was very sad.
So we just were sitting and
Yeah,
needed something to do. What did you think of it?
good. Obvious. I think it was good. Just
Kind
not.
of one of those random
Yeah.
Mickey cartoons, right?
It's just a random thing for me, honestly.
Do you remember what it was about?
It's just
You know, I don't even remember what it was either. So it wasn't that.
Was it like an old Mickey short? Or
Yeah,
was
from
it?
the
It's like
40s,
a really
yeah.
old, like old enough that you're like I don't even. It was older than me at least. Probably older than my dad. Okay.
Wow, older than
So old.
What? You blaming me on something?
I'm going to look it up and see what it was about. It says Minnie's locked in the tower when she refuses to marry the prince. So
Was the Prince Mortimer Mouse?
I think it would be.
I don't think it was. I think it was this like king looking dude.
No, oh no, it was Goofy.
Oh, was it Goofy?
It was Goofy.
Maybe Dippy Dog.
Who's Stupid Dog?
That's his
It's like
old
the old
name.
version.
Oh.
Before they decided, like most depictions of Dippy Dog, he was like old, like an older.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like Goofy, honestly.
Yeah. So obviously you didn't care too much about it.
Yeah.
I should probably watch it again. How about you, Maddie? What was your
The
first one?
first thing I watched was The Mandalorian.
And what'd you think?
It was pretty good. For the most part, like you kind of have to have a mindset that it's like a Star Wars interpretation of a Western, and like once I got into that mindset, it made sense.
Yeah, I watched it too, and for me it was like way slow. The first part, and like it took me a while to get into it, and I was just, now that you say like it was more of a Western, that kind of makes more sense. I thought like that first part kind of dragged on for a little bit, and
I have not watched The Mandalorian. Absolutely not. I do not.
so do you want to watch it?
Yeah. It's 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Would you recommend watching The Mandalorian?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think they need to, like, spoilers, there's a big force aspect at the end, but for me, Star Wars has always been about the Force and the Jedi, and I kind of want to see how they're going to put more of that into it.
Yeah, it seemed like, wasn't there some other cartoon or something where there wasn't much of the Force and it was more, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
No clue.
What is that?
Is it on Disney Plus?
Well, there's one now where it's supposed to be like the Resistance's story.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Or maybe, I actually probably think it's I was reading the Thrawn books, and there's not a whole lot of the Force in the Thrawn books. It's more about the Empire and stuff like that. And so I think that's what I was
Huh.
thinking of.
I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
Well, like even Rogue One was like had very little to
I'm
do.
glad that Rogue One's on Disney Plus, so then I don't have to like own the physical copy. Like if you just have the streaming option, you have it included.
Yeah.
Probably is my favorite Star Wars. On the topic, yes, it is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Rogue One is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's all about that robot.
Yes, I think for me, going back to the Mandalorian, my favorite part was, I thought IG-88 was really cool and all his little looking around and his.
Being able to take everyone down and like.
Yeah, I thought that was way cool, and I hope we get to see more of him in the movies in this series. I guess.
Yeah,
You have no idea.
I have no idea.
So for me, my first thing that I watched was the Imagineering story. I thought that was really cool. It talked about how Imagineering got started, and the first episode was all about creating Disneyland when Walt was there.
Yeah. I have not watched that either.
You haven't watched that one either?
I watched the shorts. The shorts are. It's what I watch. And then I just started on the Muppets movie. Don't blame me.
Yeah, that's good. We all have our different likes, and I think the biggest thing for me is when I think of Disney, I think of the amusement parks, and obviously I wanted to watch that one first, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. Most of the stuff I kind of already knew and had heard about.
Obviously, you're like the biggest Disney fan I know.
One of the cool tips that I guess not tips, but one thing that I learned is the person who designed the Matterhorn had to learn trigonometry to design it.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that.
I was talking about that earlier. So when he came to Disney, he had a career in car design. And so when he came to Disney, he did the Autopia cars. And so he designed those. And then Walt told him, you're going to design the Matterhorn. So he had to learn trigonometry to figure out how to go down the hills, but enough energy to get up a little bit of hills, because you can only go up so much from there.
I don't think that would fly today. I don't think you could hire someone who didn't have that skill set and say, sure, you can build this roller coaster. Go ahead.
And yet
It's
still going today, however, 50 years later, 55 maybe.
yeah, I'm guessing.
I thought that was cool. So obviously I would highly recommend that one. And they already have episode 2 out of that series, and it was about.
Have you watched it?
I did watch it already. Of course I did.
Head explosions go off in your mind.
So maybe we'll have to talk about that on a separate
like
episode.
Racing.
So I think next we can kind of talk about what you either watched or what you found that you thought was really random, unique, or like a hidden gem on Disney Plus. We'll start with Maddie.
Well, I still need to watch them, but there's was a couple that I saw in there that looked entertaining. Like I want to watch. There's a series there's a series called Encore, and it has Kristen Bell, and it looks pretty fun. Like hopefully it's a series where she takes people who did like theater in high school and junior high and stuff, and brings them back together as adults to redo the play they were in.
I started watching the first episode of that, and hopefully there's more Kristen Bell later on. It was just like her in the intro, which I think, having her, she could bring some like humor into it. But like the first episode, the old high school reunion was redoing Annie, the musical Annie, and it was like 25 years later from when they did it. So it was kind of interesting to see people come back together. Some had never seen each other since high school, and there was a couple of high school sweethearts that kind of broke up, and
Very awkward.
kind of a little bit awkward. So I won't go any further, but it seemed pretty interesting.
Still have not watched that. I am probably the person that watched it the least because I prefer the shorts.
Yes. So what do you think was your random, unique, or hidden gem for you?
For me, I like the short afloat. I don't know why. It's kind of, for me, it represents what children are real, like, the boy is like representing like how younger children actually are, instead of like they're just all out wild, and sometimes things can just get crazy.
Yeah, I watched that one with you too, and so
Yeah.
it was very unique. I guess it's the first Filipino Pixar short, or I read somewhere about that, and so
Don't ask me that.
so it's kind of interesting. It's this, like you said, a baby. It starts off as a baby, and the dad shows him what are those things called when you blow on them?
Dandelion.
Not a dandelion. The dandelions, or is it a dandelion?
Yeah, but they
The
start
white
off
thing?
yellow and then they turn into the whites.
Yeah, and then you blow on him.
So the dad blows on it, and the baby gets really excited, and then all of a sudden he starts to float, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And once people see him starting to float, they start to look at him differently. So it's kind of that you're looked at differently for being different. And
that also brings up another thing, a reason why I feel like it's kind of expressing that it's okay to be a different person, different than everyone else.
yeah, definitely.
Really,
That's kind of the moral of the story then,
true.
right?
Yeah. I just liked it because it just felt just a lot of stuff.
Do you think Maddie should watch it?
Yeah. Short. Like 3 minutes or something.
It's only 3 minutes.
I don't know.
Also, that's long as Pearl. The yarn one.
Yeah, it's that short.
Yeah. I remember watching that. It was like 2 hours ago. 3 hours ago.
2 hours
Later.
later.
I don't think it was.
Previously at Jackson's Life.
So for me, the one that I watched that was kind of unique or random was the Three Caballeros. I'd have always heard the song, but I never had seen the cartoon. And I watched a documentary about Walt and how the U.S. government wanted Walt to go down to South America. This was during World War II, and so it was kind of interesting to see the South American culture in the cartoon and to see where the song came from. I guess you haven't watched that one either.
Of course I haven't.
I-
What do you think I'm supposed to say? I have schoolwork to do. Saturdays and Sundays are my days to forget about school, not focus on school.
But I think, you know, I definitely would recommend it. It's one of those ones that you've heard the song before, and you know you see it in It's a Small World at Disneyland, and at Epcot they have a ride based on it. So I think it's definitely worth watching.
I haven't watched it since probably I was Jackson's age, but I have seen it before.
You did see it? That's cool.
Yeah. Still the person that watches always.
Are you interested in watching it?
Yeah, might as well later. It's literally like, what is it, like 6 a.m. in the morning? No, it's like, I don't know. It's just really late.
Yes. Okay, let's move on. So, I want to know, what were you surprised to see on Disney Plus? And I think I'll start. For me, I was really surprised to see the 90s X-Men series on there.
Yeah, I
That one you actually watched with me, huh?
yeah, I actually liked it.
So we watched the first episode again. We were at the doctor's and we had to wait there until we watched it together. And
Yeah.
it's funny to see 90s cartoons, but it still was way cool, right? You really
Yeah,
liked
I
it?
liked it a lot. In fact, I was tempted to watch the next episode.
Yeah, I think that's
Should
one.
watch the next episode.
Oh,
That's like where the X-Men shined the brightest, I think, is
yeah. The
in
cartoon.
the 90s X-Men cartoon. Like, it can be corny at times, but that's where the heart of X-Men, I think, is. Where it was expressed the best way. And
I'm just glad the X-Men's actually becoming part of the Marvel Universe.
yeah. If, like, I don't think if Fox was taken over by Disney, I don't think we would even have a chance to stream the X-Men cartoon, because the distribution rights was like all over the place for it before the unification.
That's interesting. Didn't I know on like the Disney Now, all the cable things, that I think they had Spider-Man, or maybe not. Did they have Spider-Man?
Who? Fox?
No, Disney Now, that has the like Disney XD, Disney Channel.
Yeah, they had Spider-Man shows.
I'm trying to think if it was the 90s one. Maybe it wasn't.
There was the 90s. In the new one, yeah.
Well, on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
What about on Disney Now? Do you remember?
Disney Now, no.
Well, there's been like you kind of stole my answer, because that's what I have on my notes too. But there's been like several like times that they've done X-Men cartoons, and X-Men Evolution was one, and that's on there. And then there's Wolverine and the X-Men, which I never really got into. It's cool that it's on there.
I don't even think I heard of that one.
And I think they even have like Spider-Man from like the 60s on there,
Really?
if I would remember right.
I thought superheroes weren't created for the 70s.
Nope, they've been around. Captain America was written, I think, during World War II.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's Marvel's 80th anniversary this year, so
Oh wow.
quick math. Is that like 20?
Like 1930 or something like that.
So if that's Maddie's answer, what was your?
So for me, it would probably be The Simpsons, even though I do not watch The Simpsons. Just the fact that it is there, it kind of surprised me. I know it came out when it was announced, literally back in July. I wasn't really, I couldn't really see it. I mean, I heard the news that it was on there, but still, Simpsons surprised me just because it's definitely not a Disney thing.
Yeah.
It is very jarring for me to associate The
I don't
Simpsons
think
with Disney still.
Yeah.
Well, then they had The Simpsons at D23 this year, which was,
Like the cast are like characters, walk around characters.
I think they had characters and they had a couple panels about Simpsons, and I think they're just trying to figure out how to blend The Simpsons in with the rest of the franchises.
I wonder how are they gonna who did make The Simpsons?
Well, it was made by Fox. It was created by Fox.
So
What
is-
is his name?
Matt Shear something.
So is
There's
there
gonna
gonna be more Fox?
There's gonna be people probably yelling at us in the
Yeah.
comments.
That's the
Yes.
first thing that everyone's gonna want.
Matt Groening. Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Groening.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you say that last name. We'll say sure. It's Matt Groening.
Sure.
But it will be interesting to see if they add any other Fox stuff to.
I think they will.
You think so?
And then the whole Fox channel's gonna be able to go on Disney Plus.
Well,
Like-
I've probably talked to you many times. They need to make Anastasia
Oh
a
yeah.
part of. It is not on Disney Plus. I looked, and I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
know.
Fox one, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it could be because there's shows that they can't have on Disney Plus because they're tied in with other streaming contracts. So I don't know if maybe Anastasia's there, but she needs to be officially
A
Disney
new
princess.
Disney princess.
But going back to that, like other streaming services have rights. I don't know who. There was a friend from work who was like really excited to watch this Christmas show, and it was even on Disney Plus. But when you click into it, it says because of licensing rights, we can't share this till November 2020. So it's like
They just want to let you know that they're gonna get it.
it's there, it's coming, but it's
Why not until 2020?
on.
I
I
don't
think
know.
another place. Do you know what licenses are?
Yeah.
So they've licensed to have that movie
Until
on that streaming service till 2020.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. I think though that Disney's trying to still keep The Simpsons a little bit crude, or however you keep that.
The Simpsons being the Simpsons.
Yeah. So like
No
when
one could really control the Simpsons.
did you see the what am I saying? Did you see the commercial for Disney Plus that had all the Simpsons?
And they're dressed up as, I think, like Homer was Iron Man.
Yeah. And then Marge was Bo Peep, I think. And what were the other ones dressed up as? Let me see if I can find it real quick.
So. Yeah.
So I'll play it for you.
It is Bart is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Why is it being quiet?
Because.
Everybody smile.
I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna make me do it. I don't care how much they pay.
You put on that nose and ears or I'll take off yours. Everybody smile.
And is Lisa supposed to be the Matterhorn? Is that what she's supposed
Or
to
she's
be?
just supposed to be Snow because she
Oh,
represented
Snitch.
National Geographic. So I had Maggie as Star Wars. She was Yoda. Homer as Iron Man and for Marvel, and then they have Bart as Mickey for Disney. So as you can see there, it's kind of crude. So it'll be interesting to
I
see.
see why you don't want me to see it now.
Yeah, I personally have only liked the Halloween specials of The Simpsons.
Huh.
I think that's where most of the
How-
cleverness is.
How did we get from Disney to Simpsons?
Because
You're the one that brought it up, Jackie.
No, but
we said what surprised you that was on there.
I know, but I lose track.
Okay, moving on. What do you guys hope to see on there?
So, there was a cartoon when I was growing up that Disney did called Pepper Ann.
Pepper Ann.
And me and Amy loved Pepper Ann. It was one of the few cartoons we'd watched together. That and Recess. We both shared that.
I
and
remember
Recess.
Recess.
And Recess is on there.
What in the world?
Oh, I think I remember Pepper Ann.
What is this Pepper Ann? Are you literally putting pepper on Ann?
It's about a girl who's probably about your age. It's a cartoon about a girl about your age. And she has to it's kind of like how she tries to it's like how she's fitting in and kind of learning about morals and
Trying to be cool at the same time.
yeah, like trying to find where she fits in the world.
I mean, it's supposed to be like a teenager show, I'm guessing, so.
Well, it's more for like you now and like 6th graders. Because I think she's in 7th grade in the series, so it's it was probably made for kids about your age.
Huh.
So that's
That's the one you're hoping to see.
I hope they bring that back.
I don't.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, but that's because I wasn't alive. I'm probably the youngest one here.
You are.
You are
Yeah.
the youngest one here.
I am the youngest.
I didn't remember it until I looked it up and saw the photo. So it'd be interesting to see if they do bring it back. Be a good one.
Yeah.
How about you, Jackson?
I know this sounds very nerdy for me, but Pokemon. Seriously, why? Disney now had it, and I'm like, why? Just transfer it over, especially with Sword and Shield coming out. I mean, it's literally like it's just, why?
Well,
Just why?
I think it all depends because Pokemon isn't owned by Disney, but it has the distribution rights in America for it.
Yeah.
So it all depends on how long that contract lasts.
True. But what about the other stuff in Disney now that wasn't transferred over to
Well, I think
Disney Plus?
eventually
Everything.
they're going
now.
to put as much as possible, but it's kind of like they're testing the waters.
Get it? I mean, I mean, it's literally a horse right there. You have to test the waters. This is not solid water. What? This is solid water. No. Life is changing. Mind not understanding. Mind exploding.
How did we get to this?
I do
We're
not.
tired.
Yes, we're very tired. I also think maybe they're working on the licensing with them.
True.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Nice. For me, Disney Parks dude, I want them to bring the old Disneyland TV show back. It's the one that Walt did so that Disney would help pay for Disneyland, the park. Have you ever seen any episodes of that?
Yes. Yes. I was watching one on. I think there was one on Epcot with talking about Epcot.
I don't know if that was.
I know there's one. I know I've seen one. I just know I don't know which one.
Was it a part of the Wonderful World of Disney, like those segments?
So that was before. It was before the Wonderful World of Disney.
Okay, then I have not seen that then.
So I think the Epcot one is the one that it was from the Wonderful World of Disney. But if you've seen like the opening day celebration, like they filmed opening day live, and that was part of the Disneyland TV series. It was just the way of Walt to sell the park to
Life
America and to investors, and so
kind of started up the theme park rage.
yeah,
Rawr!
you are getting tired, aren't you?
I am.
But in the TV series, it would cover each area of the park, so like Fantasyland, Frontierland, Tomorrowland, and so that's where the TV show, like the old TV show Davy Crockett, came from. It came
Kingdom of the
from-
Wild Frontiers.
Yes.
That's your grandma's favorite, was Davy Crockett. She wanted to be Davy
Kingdom of
Crockett.
the Wild Frontiers.
And you did that. You did your report on him, huh, Davy?
Like
Crockett?
one day, like in 4th grade or something. No, it was in like 3rd. No, was it in 4th or 3rd?
I don't remember.
I don't even remember.
You wanted to do him because we were kind of related to him somehow, right?
I don't know if we are.
I think that you liked him, and then you found out that we were kind of related.
Kinda. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think
It's late.
the last thing I want to talk about is just any general thoughts you have on Disney Plus, or anything else you want to say about Disney Plus.
Well, I have lots of catching up because I always wanted to watch The Runaways, but I never purchased Hulu, so that's on there. And there's a Christmas show called Noel with Anna Kendrick that looks pretty funny.
Yeah, it looks very Hallmark movie type, so it'll be interesting.
Still haven't.
I haven't seen that one either,
Because
Jackson.
no one here has seen it.
Yeah, nobody here has seen it.
I get what you're saying.
I'm a little hesitant on the High School Musical, the series.
I watched the first episode on that one, and
Is it good? I mean, I know I liked High School Musical when I was a younger
Right.
lad,
a young kid.
a young kid.
You know, I struggled with parts of it, but I thought it was kind of cool. Like, it's set in Utah because that's where High School Musical was filmed. So it's supposed to be like the actual school in Utah, and the drama class at that school has never done a production of High School Musical, and so that's what the series is about. So it's just the musical.
What?
I heard that it's very similar to Glee. That's what I read. Is
Yeah.
that
Never
it's kind
heard
of
of
like
that.
a more family friendly Glee.
And yeah, for me, I don't know if it was family enough, so I don't know if I would.
It was bordering.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I struggled with it. And
Falling
I
asleep.
think it has the person from Bizarre Varks.
What?
one of the
watch
main girls.
Bizarre Bark.
Wasn't that show where it was the fake YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually like that.
Yeah, you had.
I don't-
remember watching it with you.
Wait, is
Like,
is
when
that
they-
on Disney Plus?
Bizarre Works?
Yeah. I
I-
thought it's
I
not.
don't
I'm
even know
gonna be
how to spell it. Let's
outrageous.
see. Bizarre.
I remember watching it with you in one of the condos we were staying at.
Yes.
Yeah, it's right here.
I hope they.
So it has this girl as the main girl.
Huh. Odd.
I don't even know her name.
I don't even either.
And that was the Disney show Logan Paul was on before he got in trouble, right?
Bizarre Works?
Or was that a different one?
I don't know.
Don't ask me.
He probably hasn't seen it, right?
I have seen it, Dad. I have. Now we're gonna wake up the whole entire block. Wait, we've given our date. Fourth wall broken.
Any other general thoughts that you can think of? Check your notes.
I should probably
I have a really random thought. Is there's like no version of A Muppet's Christmas Carol that has the Love Is Gone song like in the movie. Like
You put what?
only on VHS. That's really random, but I looked specifically on Disney Plus and it does not have that song in that part.
What? You put what in your cup?
Have you seen The Muppets Christmas Carol?
Isn't it like with Scrooge McDuck, but
Well, it's with Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
But there's a song that I used to annoy your dad with all the time.
Maybe that's why I can't think of it, because I
He's
pushed it out of my mind.
And so,
Yeah.
yes, that's.
So they had it in the VHS, but they
I want to say it was in the VHS, but I've never, like, Michelle has bought a version of it. It's not in there. It has something to do with when they converted it to widescreen for some reason.
just skip the whole thing, like Garfield's Halloween thing, where they misplaced it, where the song is before
Yes, it's crazy.
Flippy the Clown.
Do you have? Let's move on before.
So
So
On-
tired, aren't you?
on that, yeah, why are they gonna put like classics like Garfield on?
Well, that's not really a Disney.
True, but
Though I do wonder, because the Peanuts movie, was it made by Fox? At
I
least
don't
the most
know.
recent one?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I am probably.
That is something I should look up, because I was watching that the other day and noticed that it was, I want to say it was Fox that made the most recent Peanuts movie. So that I don't know what's going on with that.
That could be one that shows up. I didn't- did you? I think you saw that one.
Yeah.
It was produced by Blue Sky Studios and distributed by 20th Century Fox.
I haven't seen that one, so
That's pretty cute.
Well, other than that thought, I think it's working out great, and that I just want them to try to get stuff that was on Disney now that's onto Disney Plus.
you're trying to bring that Pokemon back.
I
aren't you?
know.
We have Sword and the Shield on the line.
I know, it's so tempting.
Well, we can always hope, right, Jackson?
We can always dream.
We can always dream.
A dream is a wish. I'm gone crazy.
Is there any other examples on Disney now that you can?
I know not like there's this weird like ghost spirit show weird thing. It was really odd. Don't ask me what it is. or how I remember. I think, yeah.
The Phantom
Like,
of the
there's-
Metroplex.
Not quite the Phantom of the Bed.
Was it Voltron?
Voltron?
No, that's
Voltron's
on
Netflix. There's like a killer, like a Kim Possible Kim or something.
I have no idea what
I
you're
have no clue what I'm talking about. Probably because I wasn't born that century, so
But you
Yeah.
have watched it.
I remember
Whatever it is.
whatever it is. I
That has
think
to do with ghosts and Kim Possible.
it's just not dealing with ghosts. It's just really odd.
Yeah.
Did
Look
you
it
watch Kim Possible? Do you know what Kim Possible is?
I think that's the show I'm trying to talk about.
It's about a teenage girl. who's-
Yeah.
Was it the live one or the original?
The original. The original's not. I'm pretty sure it's not on.
I did see the original on. I was pretty sure I saw the original Kim Possible. Or I think it looks like they have
Is this the
the
movie?
They have all three.
They have the movie, the series, and then the cartoon animated movie.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
That might be another one to watch.
Yeah.
But there's all that buzz about the movie coming back, and then I didn't even know it came out, so it's interesting.
And it had some not so happy buzz.
So sad.
Now how about you?
Oh, thanks. So for me, I don't know. I think it's just the nerd in me. I really like that they have National Geographic on there. I've already watched a couple documentaries on space. I watched the one about the Apollo missions, and it's kind of interesting to see how they did that and like the progress of getting to the moon. And it was funny, like I guess it's not funny, it's kind of sad because these people were working for NASA and working hard, and Apollo 13, people were like, why are they even going up to the moon? They've already gone up to the moon, and like no one cared to see the launch, but as soon as they were in danger,
It was sensationalized.
it just kind of shows you like how we as a society will choose things, and then once it's popular, we care now.
Yeah.
It's like Fortnite.
Like Fortnite.
Except for I truly like Fortnite.
And it's okay to like Fortnite. It's okay not to like Fortnite.
It's
That's
okay.
whatever you like, right?
Yeah.
The other space one I watched was called Mission X, so that's kind of the newer, the founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, did.
Are you a big Elon Musk fan? Or you don't know who he is? Probably don't know who he is.
And I think have you seen the videos of like, they want everything to be reusable, so they have the engines that come down and they just land perfectly standing up, and it's these like, you think of rockets, how tall and skinny they are, but they can come down just perfectly and land on a platform. Have you seen that?
No. But that's hilarious. Like, just
It's trippy because you're like, how is that thing gonna stand up? And yet it does, and it's crazy.
I don't think I've seen it, but I do remember reading it on like Facebook on how he just. But it makes sense because like all other like spacecraft, it like leaves like tons of stuff. Like,
yeah. We need to save the atmosphere. Instead of saving materials, save the atmosphere.
how
It
that
goes into the.
Oh yeah, both. Yes.
But he talks
Yeah,
about like when you get on an airplane, you don't take that airplane and then you throw that away. Where they're trying to commercialize space travel, and so stuff has to be reusable. And at the very end, they send a Tesla into space.
Is it one of those ones that can drive in space?
I
Like
think
that?
it's just attached to a rocket
Well,
or
they
a satellite.
had it inside the rocket and then it opened up and they pushed it out. So now it's just floating on its own.
Like I thought there was like this type of car that was also like, would work in like zero gravity. Like
Well, they made cars for the moon missions. Is that what you're thinking?
no, it was like it was like moon cars.
Yeah, I don't know what you're.
I don't know either. And that's the funny thing.
Well, I think if that's it, and unless you guys have anything else.
I don't think I do.
I'm excited for the future, honestly.
Especially if
So
they
go
have
forth,
Pokemon.
If they add Pokemon. And especially I'm excited for the next nap time because I am tired.
They're there. Now, I'm gonna do this outro. Last time I messed it up, so hopefully I'll have Maddie here to help me if I mess up. But if you guys aren't already, make sure to subscribe and follow us. Give us a thumbs up, right, Jackson? Like this video or audio wherever you're listening to it. Comment and let us know what you think about Disney Plus. And remember, whether at home or at the park, make every day a Disney day. Goodbye.
Such a ham bone.
And time for bed.
Yes, I am.